Good morning, everybody. John Swift here. Sometimes I think about people joining in this vlog and I think, they really don't know who I am, I guess, other than just looking at the video and trying to figure it out. I'm just a regular dude who has a job but likes to shoot adventure vlogs, likes to get out on the weekends and the weekdays and kind of see the places around where I live. So that's what I'm doing today. Is I'm out on Sarasota Bay today. I'm actually on Longboat Key. Usually I do a lot of vlogs from the mainland, which would be this side, the western side, is that right? The west side of the bay I'm usually on, but we're across the bay on Longboat Key. Over this way is Lido, over that way. I'm getting confused again by the the camera's always messing me up. Lido Key's here. There's a bridge right here. This is actually called not Longboat Pass. I think it's called New Pass. Yeah, Longboat Pass would be the north side. So anyway, this is a. I just heard somebody say something. It's not like a radio. This is called Quick Point Nature Preserve. It's 34 acres on the New Pass Inlet. So basically, we are here. So this would be Longboat Key here. This is Sarasota Bay here, and they're not showing the mainland, but they're saying there's all kinds of good stuff in here. Shoreline and uplands and Australian pines, and looks like there's some kind of boardwalk up here. So the idea is that people come out here to see nature, and they've preserved it for all the wildlife. And they're saying that you can see osprey, pelican, heron, fiddler crabs, mangrove spiders, insects, raccoon, armadillo, and a rabbit. So that's pretty safe. And you can see all kinds of other little stuff. But this is a place that I actually spotted from. We were eating across the bay over here. There's a place called the Salty Dog, which is one of those buildings over there. And I was looking at this, and somebody's on a PA speaker over there. Behind me over there, there's somebody talking. Anyway, I kind of wanted to show you guys some of this preserve, and I've never been out here, so I don't really know what's out here, but hopefully we're going to see something pretty cool. I will find something interesting to put on here. And would you like to come along? If you'd like to come along, keep viewing, because we're going to see some cool stuff. So on we go. So unlike a lot of places that I go that are preserve areas, they have a habit of putting a lot of sidewalks in, and garbage cans and cigarette dispensers and all this kind of signage and all this. This place is actually very natural. They didn't put any sidewalks in here, except for right out by the road there's a sidewalk. I kind of prefer this more natural. It's just like if you were just had to walk in the woods, where it was, just some property in the woods. It's pretty natural. A lot of times when you come out here, if you've ever been to Florida, you come out here and there'll be like 80 million crabs out here by the water, and you'll see them all scrambling. I don't know what's out here, but it's funny. There's a lot of black rocks out here. All kinds of interesting rocks. A lot of the times when you're on the sandy shore, you see a lot of shells, but for some reason, a lot of stones. For some reason. I wonder if it's possible this is fossilized rock, all this black rock. It's kind of unusual to come up on a shoreline like this. Also some pretty interesting old trees. I don't know if that's a mangrove tree or what that is, cypress tree. You can see the bridge over here is, I think that's New Pass Bridge. New Pass, possibly. It's really pretty out today. The water actually looks very clean. It's all blue out here. It's very unusual. I think when the winds are very calm, the water gets very clear here. We're not like the Florida Keys where the water is calm, clear all the time. It's Sometimes it's very murky and dark, but I think since the winds have been sort of taking it easy, the water's a lot clearer, and there hasn't been stirring up a lot of stuff. Just wanted to give you guys a little sort of a 360 pan of the area so you can sort of see what I'm seeing here. Very beautiful Sarasota Bay, especially today. And the Quick Point Park here. Trail, you can see there's this trail sign right there. So the water, if you were to compare this to how it would normally be, I would say this is about the clearest it gets. You can see, like right out here, you can see everything in the water. If you were to just to wow, listen to that dog. There's a dog over there that's yelping. What if he's yelping at the other boat? There, I think there's a sandbar right out there by that buoy marker or whatever that is. People are standing out there on the sandbar. Looks like some people might be coming in, do a little beach recreation. That dog's still yelping. Anyway, back to the water. You can see the water is super clear. This is not the norm. And look at this. I don't know what that. If it's like pink sand, right there. The sand actually looks like it's kind of pink today. Can you see that? Right around where it has this funky little edge is kind of pinkish. Probably a good place to get driftwood out here too. There's so many roots. I'm not sure if that's those are mangroves. Anyway, if you were gonna take a postcard picture, this would be like the place because the water is just super clear. And like I was gonna say, if you were just to take off your shoes and walk out here, I was thinking about doing that. You could just see so much stuff. If there's any little creatures out there, you could just easily, without even a mask or anything, you can just kind of see how clear it is. Like I said, the wind is very low today and the waves are very calm, so that's usually what promotes a really clear view. This is not what we usually have this time of year. You can see there's a lot of people out here either fishing or recreating, and I think there's a big sandbar, so a lot of people like to kind of anchor the sandbar there. This is the day to do it, I tell you what. Optimal boating conditions today with low waves and moderate chop. It is pretty amazing how blue the water is today too. So lately I've been talking a lot about these horseshoe crabs. As you can see, there's two of these shells here, and to best describe it to you, a horseshoe crab is sort of like almost like a turtle shell, but on the bottom side is usually where the most of the body is. The body will sort of have the main part of the body and then the legs, but when they die, apparently this is what's kind of left, is just sort of an empty little shell here. It feels like that plastic. If you ever felt that plastic that they make those RC cars out of, the real lightweight plastic, that's what it feels like. It actually sounds like that too. It's really interesting. This is a little one. You can see there's a big one right next to it. I wonder if they walk up on land and just die, and then the little creatures come and remove the contents. But you can see this has got little, I don't know what that is, like little vertebrae on the back there. Kind of interesting. Some of them have these, I wonder if it's the male or the female that has these large spines on the back. I know when they're little they don't grow that long, but they sort of have a two-piece body with this hard front, and then they have this little folding back half too. And a lot of times there's a spine there, but I don't know where the spine is. They usually have like a long tail. But I've been finding a lot of these lately. You can just find dozens and dozens of them. And I'm just wondering if that's the life cycle. They just come up on land and die, and therefore all their shells are all over the place. There's kind of like a little foot trail back here too. I always look on the sand to see if I see other footprints, and if I see other footprints, I assume that there's other people that have been back here. They kind of made a little foot trail, I guess, where you can kind of stumble around. We'll see where this goes. Kind of amble around. Look at this. What is this? It's like a coconut in a tree. It looks kind of like somebody's face and hair, doesn't it? Sorta. It looks like somebody put this in the tree. Look at that. It's like stuck in the tree. Doesn't it look like somebody's face and hair? It's like this is the husk of the coconut, so you can see the coconut here. And it looks like somebody put a hole in the bottom of it and stuck it on this branch. That's interesting. Like a little voodoo doll or something. Interesting. Look at this cool little shell I found. Has like a kind of a purplish color to it. Trying to put it in the light here. I don't know if this is like, technically it's an oyster, or if it's a mussel, or what that is, but I'm sure some experts out there can identify that. They're just very pretty shell. I don't really see many of these. We've been out many times on the beach collecting shells and stuff, and haven't really seen too many of those. Kind of a cool little find there. I'll leave that for somebody else to find. I don't know if many of you really care about coconuts, but I'm kind of like a coconut geek for some reason. I don't know why, but it's interesting. This coconut, you can actually, this is like a perfect cutaway of how a coconut. Normally, you see a coconut in a tree like this, and then not many people realize, if you don't live in an area where coconuts grow, is you've actually got the husk. Usually takes up most of the thing, and then you've got this little coconut on the inside, which they actually sell them like these. These are kind of different than the ones that they sell in the store, but an interesting little cutaway here. How this is the inside nut of the coconut, and then normally they would have the what they call the cream, or the milk is inside there. I don't know if some little creatures got in there and hollowed that out. I don't know. Can animals actually? Is there any animals that are strong enough to open that thing? Because this husk is really, really tough. But that's just interesting how it's like that. Normally you would find them just have a hole in the end and like that, but it almost looks like somebody carved that out. For those people who already know what a mangrove swamp is, you can kind of skip this section. But this is basically what mangrove is it's a tree with these long roots, and they're kind of like these spidery legs that stick down. And maybe on high tide, this area would be a lot more water. I don't know if these roots actually suck water, salt water, or something. But for whatever reason, they always hang down into water. But this is like unusual how you can see these things hanging out of the tree. Just the mangrove, what they call a mangrove swamp. Looks like somebody came in and cut down a lot of these stumps for some reason. I see some people coming this way, coming past. This is basically where a lot of wildlife kind of make their home, in this mangrove area here. So right now I'm kind of like in a little creek spot where there's like kind of this brackish, and I'm not going to speculate about why this is orangey color, but it's very brownish orange. See, like the stuff we were looking at earlier was very clear. And for some reason, there must not be a lot of flow of water out here, so it has an orangish tinge. But every time I go into speculating about why that is, people always leave comments and say, that's not true, that's not true. So I'm just gonna leave it up to you guys to figure out why. You can see there's like a lot of little fish. Every time I move, make a sudden movement, there's like all this little flurry of fish moving. So I'm actually standing on a tree that actually overlooks the water here. It's like the perfect overhang tree where you can actually just sit right here. I wanted to get a selfie of me sort of sitting in the tree, wide shot, but this is like so awesome. You don't have to get wet. You can just stand right over the water here. You can see my foot there. Kind of just a beautiful overlook. I wonder if it's why people made this little foot trail, which is right through the thick of the woods just out here, just to see this little tree. I wish my arm was long. I wish I had a selfie stick with me so I could kind of get a shot of myself just sitting in the tree here. Really, today is just a really amazing day. I wish you guys were kind of here in person, because I don't know if the camera really does justice to the beauty and the sky and the color and the perfect weather that we're having here today. It's really just amazing. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just sort of in one of those days where I'm just into soaking it in. Look at those crazy roots here. These roots that are all just hanging out of that tree. I wonder if they get water, actually get water from the ocean. They're in the water, but I wonder if that's what the reason why the roots grow down in there, because they're primarily saltwater trees. It's just a really beautiful day. Some clouds kind of crept out here, but still basically spectacular. I can imagine the people on the west coast or on the northeast are having a hard time still with the snow and everything and the cold weather, but really just drinking it in, because I think we're gonna have some more cold weather next week. So trying to get the maximum drinking in, the maximum beauty and weather today, soaking it up for those couple days that it's going to be cold next week. So I was trying to cross this little tributary or whatever you want to call it. Had a little bit of a mishap. Take a look at my foot. I stepped off this branch. I lost my balance. I was trying to cross these little branches. I stepped off into this little area. My foot went down about a foot into the murkiness. You can see that gooey mud-like substance, and my foot came up with a lot of, you can see the stuff on the back of my shoe right there. Look at that. All kinds of, yeah, that's what happens when you kind of step on broken branches. You get a bunch of crusty black muddy stuff. Oh well, my shoes will wash out, I guess. That was some hard climbing. These mangroves are like climbing, like, I don't know, man. They're so thin and everything, and I was trying to look for a spot that I could just go across the mangroves there. Getting across to the other side, I actually made it with just getting my shoe wet, one shoe wet, and come back on the other side, the branch broke. I kind of stepped off. Now my leg is all wet, but I don't think anybody ever died from getting their feet wet. Very interesting that he's standing still. Usually they hide in those little holes right there, but he's just kind of hanging out because maybe he realizes that I'm not posing any threat to him. So that was cool. Those guys usually move out so fast you can't even catch them. They're running for their little crab lives. Pretty awesome. Sometimes you catch those little magic moments there. You have a little magic moment between you and an animal or a crab or sea life. And I try to mentally sort of project, I'm not hurting you, I just want to get a picture. I don't want to do any harm, just relax. Here's that coconut again. That is pretty cool. So I think I've pretty much seen everything that's out here. I took a 10 or 15 minute walk to the end of this preserve, which is kind of gets down to a lot of mangroves and a lot of trees down there. And hope you guys enjoyed the video of this really pretty natural preserve area. Make sure you subscribe so you can get my videos tomorrow and the next day. Leave a comment if you feel like you want to communicate something. And if you want to help support me, I do have t-shirts, johnswift.spreadshirt.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. If you want to shoot me a message on there. I like taking adventures. I like doing adventure videos. And I like taking you guys along. So I appreciate you guys hanging out for a few minutes, or maybe more than a few minutes, and kind of checking out the sights and sounds. Hope you enjoyed it, and if it's cold where you are, I hope I could bring a little sunlight and warmth to you guys. Hope you have a good weekend. We'll see you on the next adventure, guys. Stay tuned. I got a lot of plans for a lot of great stuff, so we'll see you. Have a great weekend.